Let's dive into a story that's been told for millennia. It's an incredible tale of faith, a task that seems impossible, and a rescue that, honestly, defies all logic. This is the story of Prophet Noah and his ship of salvation.
So let's just start with the question at the very heart of this whole thing. It's a question just dripping with sarcasm, right? It perfectly captures how absurd the situation must have looked. You're building an ark in the middle of a desert? Yeah. To even begin to understand the answer, we have to go all the way back to the beginning.
So, our story kicks off in a time when people were, let's say, seriously lost. It's kind of a classic setup, you know? A whole community that has been blessed with so much, but has completely forgotten where those blessings came from.
I want you to picture it, a land that's beautiful, a land that has everything. The people there had everything they could possibly want. But instead of being thankful to their creator, they started worshiping idols, statues they made with their own hands, things that couldn't see them, couldn't hear them, and had absolutely no power. They'd totally lost the plot.
And right into this mess steps a man named Noah. He's a prophet, and his message is so simple, so clear. What's amazing is just how direct it is. He's not laying out some complicated new rules. He's just giving them a gentle reminder, trying to bring them back to the one basic truth they'd forgotten.
And how did they react? Well, with total disbelief. They scoffed at him, saying things like, "You're just a regular guy like us." They couldn't see past the man to the message he carried. But against all their ridicule, there was Noah's unbelievable, almost superhuman patience. Seriously, he just never gave up. Day and night, out in the open, behind closed doors, he kept on trying.
And you might be wondering, how long did this go on for? Get this, 950 years. Just let that sink in for a second. That's an entire lifetime and then some, dedicated to one single message, and all he got back was rejection and people making fun of him. That number isn't just a random detail. It shows you just how deep his patience and his love for his people really were.
So after all that time, we reach a turning point. A new instruction comes from God. The time for talking was pretty much over. Now it was time for action. A very specific and, let's be honest, a very strange kind of action.
The message was crystal clear, and it was final. That's it. No one else from his people was going to choose to believe. The opportunity was gone. And right after that came the command that changed everything. Construct the ship. Build an ark. This was it. The moment salvation was going to take a physical form.
And here we are right back at that mocking question. You can just hear them laughing, right? An ark in the desert? Hey Noah, where's the water? To them, this wasn't just illogical. It was proof that he had finally lost his mind. It must have been the biggest joke in town.
But check out Noah's response. There's no anger, no doubt, just absolute confidence. He knows something they don't. He has total faith in the plan, even though it looks completely insane to everybody else. His words are basically saying, go ahead, laugh all you want now. A day is coming when we'll be the ones laughing. And now, the story hits its terrifying climax. The warnings have been given, the ark is built, and the price for not believing is about to become horribly real.
Just as he was told, the handful of people who actually believed Noah got on board the ship. And with them came pairs of every animal, creating this floating sanctuary. This thing wasn't just a boat. It was called the Ship of Salvation. It was the only hope in a world that was about to be washed away.
Then it started. Maybe just a few drops at first, but that quickly turned into a torrential downpour. A flood like nothing anyone had ever seen. It was like the sky itself was just opening up.
And get this, the water wasn't just coming from above. The ground itself started to erupt with water. Springs burst open everywhere. The entire land was turning into a raging sea. There was absolutely nowhere to run.
The water rose with terrifying speed, and the waves swelled up to the size of mountains. Can you even imagine the power, the sheer chaos of it all? And there's the ark, being lifted and tossed around on this crazy sea, the only safe place in a world that was disappearing underwater.
And in the middle of this absolute chaos, we get one of the most heartbreaking moments in the whole story. Noah sees his own son out there struggling in the water, and he just cries out to him. It's this desperate final plea from a father filled with so much love, just begging him to be saved before it's too late.
But his son's reply is just tragic. He puts his faith not in God's prophet, his own dad, but in the physical world. He actually thinks a mountain can save him from the power of the Creator. It's just this ultimate display of pride and self-reliance.
And the result was instant. A wave as big as a mountain comes between them, and that's it. He's gone. In that one moment, his choice was sealed, and he was lost to the flood. It's such a heavy, powerful lesson about how final our choices can be.
After the storm, there's a calm. The judgment has happened, and now, it's time for a new beginning. The whole mood of the story shifts here, from the absolute terror of the flood to the incredible power of God's mercy.
Just like the flood started with a command, it ends with one. God tells the earth to swallow the water and the sky to stop the rain. And just like that, the same forces of nature that caused all that destruction are brought to a complete halt. It just goes to show who's really in control.
As all the water receded, the long, terrifying journey came to a gentle end. The ark, that vessel of hope and faith, settled safely on a mountain called Judy. The survivors, Noah, his family, the believers, and all the animals, they had made it through the storm.
So, after this unbelievable journey, this story of destruction and salvation, what are we supposed to take away from it all? You know, every great story has lessons that last forever, and this one is just packed with them. Let's break down the big ones.
It really boils down to three huge things. First, having faith even when it makes no logical sense. I mean, building a giant boat miles from any sea, that takes serious trust. Second, being patient even through the toughest times. And Noah's patience, almost 1,000 years of being made fun of, is the ultimate example. And finally, it's about putting all your trust in God's plan, knowing that He's the only one who can save you from the storm.
And that really gets to the simple, pure, and hopeful heart of this story. It's a message that's just as powerful today as it was back then. The story of Noah's Ark isn't just some ancient myth. No, it's a timeless reminder of how faith, patience, and trust are the things that lead to true salvation.